be here 26 years. And so we do not have to wait for a fund drive to show your support for this program, to let our program committee and WFG really feel the support of my audience, that you are some very special ones from all over the place. And you are able to make your donation using the WRFG radio app. You can go to wrfg.org, make a donation there. You can call up at 404-523-8989. You can use your Cash App, cash sign WRFG893. Or you can go to PayPal, I think, at office@wrfg.org. And so I'm grateful and thankful that we have the opportunity to have this kind of conversation, this kind of exchange, because commercial radio would not allow it. Our being in a place where, and people say, oh, but you're on so late at night, sister, people be asleep. But WRFG is archiving programs, so you can always, promote the programming, all of WRFG programming at wrfg.org and click on archives. And so you also have the opportunity to communicate with me directly here at 404-523-8989. If you have any concerns, questions, comments, thoughts about anything that you've heard me say this evening or any other time. And then you also have the opportunity to communicate more extensively with your number 5 support at 678-760-9299. And so I know that many ones through this period, this ending of the frequency of the year, many ones go through degrees of depression. We have had so many ones to pass away, and this is anniversary time, anniversary for remembering our family get-togethers, anniversary remembering from how much we enjoyed being around our siblings and whatnot, at Thanksgiving dinners and family gatherings and all of that. And, I'm just saying at this particular point in time, the greatest thing that we have available to us is to exert and exalt a full effort in our living on a daily basis, to really dwell in our gratitude and our thanksgiving on a daily basis, to be in a place and space where you let people know you love them, and you love, and show love, and share love, and understand that the healing is in love. There's so many ones who've experienced so much violation from their family members over time. When we're little, we don't forget stuff, and then sometimes in the cleansing you remember, but we still have the responsibility to release, to let go, to forgive, to understand that under a system of divisiveness, the intention is to make sure that ones are divided. And because we're dealing with not only a divisive system, but a system that is violating, and do not think that Captain Crunch and Lucky Charms and Lucky Stars and all of the stuff that is filled with all of the chemicals and all of this is not violation of children. But you have ones and ones who have been educated to think that raising your children vegetarian and plant-based is a violation. And I'm saying, this is how hoodwinked and bamboozled so many ones who work on behalf of DFACS and Child Protective Services and whatnot are trying to say that, and the hospitals and whatnot are trying to say that a vegetarian diet is not sufficient for raising children. But then you do not hear them saying anything about all of the garbage that's being fed to children, all of the obesity that children are dealing with, all of the attention deficit disorders, all of these issues. And I'm saying is that this is really the criminality of the system to poison children and then to miseducate people to think that poisoning your children because it's systemic, because that's what the system perpetuates, is the right thing to do. And then when you are a woman and mother and father enough, grandmama and grandfather enough to demand that your children are not poisoned, then they got some issue with you. And I'm saying this is silly. This is the stupidity of a system of oppression that is systemic. And I am is not one disease that people are dealing with that is not related to being poisoned through a system of oppression where we're being served that which the body cannot utilize as fuel. We want to have conversations about the politics, but the politics and the economy of death can only be remedied when individuals take control of themselves and their appetites, are coming to a point in place where we are realizing the responsibility we have as women, as mothers, as aunties, as grandmothers, as teachers. There should be a point and center completely committed to the exaltation of life. But when we've been socialized by educational system and being religiously indoctrinated to think that we can just do anything and it's okay, but the anything don't fly when you see all of this disease and all of this stuff that goes on with us. And so, yes, I speak to these issues consistently because there has been there's not enough shifting for the amount of sickness, illness, and disease, and the building of children's hospitals that have how many ever floors they have that are children's hospitals. And so the visioning that I have is that every woman, every man, every mother, every father begins to take responsibility for their own clearing, cleansing, purification. And every bathroom and every kitchen becomes a center for wholeness. Right? Because, don't wait for me to try to create $1 million facility to be cleaning, people who need to be cleaning themselves on a daily basis. Even if I had that vision and I had that money, you understand, I don't have the people to work it. Because the people who work there can't just be employees. They would have to be ones who've actually done the work and know what the work actually is. You understand? So it's like, no, every woman, every man that is mother and father, auntie, uncle, nephew, you understand? And then we have these ones who are old enough as 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds. And I have, those who have been listening to me since they were 18, 19 years old. And they brought their own babies forward. You understand? Without going to hospitals, they had natural births. They brought their children up strict vegetarian. You understand? And I'm making a distinction between being plant-based and strict vegetarian. What's the difference? Is that being strict vegetarian, you're dealing with fruit and vegetation is not made in plants. When you're dealing with plant-based things, you're talking about things that could be made in plants. When we talk about the Impossible Burger and the Beyond Burger and all of these things were not made in the kitchens. They were made in laboratories. You understand? And so for us to be in a place and space where we're eating food that has been manufactured by commercial with the commercial profit and not with the intention of the clearing, the cleansing, the purification, the consecration. And I have been strict vegetarian long enough to have seen so many ones and seeing so many ones who are supposedly vegetarian, plant-based, this and that, still having the tumors, still having the mental, I won't say mental dis-ease, but to not really be in a perfect peace, perfect poise with the fullness of themselves, to still be out of alignment with the gifts and the blessings that they are, because the toxins are still there. And the cleaner you eat, the more the toxins start coming out. But if you're not opening up the channels of elimination on a daily basis, those toxins are reabsorbing in the tissues. And this is why so many ones get sick. Or say that they're sick, or say that they're lethargic and they have no energy, so they go back to eating meat. They break the cycle, or the doctor tells them, oh, well, you need more protein. So then they start back eating fish and chicken and they feel better. Why? Because they stopped the cleansing process. Now, if you've been feeding off the flesh of dead animals, the aborted fetuses of chickens, the pus and mucus of cows, and then you drank alcohol, you dealt with tobacco, you dealt with all of these things in addition to the artificial colors and flavors from the Takis, the Doritos, Gatorade, Powerade, all of these things, and you start going into plant-based vegetarianism and whatnot, your body's going to move into hyper cleanse mode. And coming to a point where we are able to facilitate that cleansing is the issue. And then no one is talking about the amount of ink that is in your glands and organs from all of these tattoos. And did you even ask what the inks were made out of when you got those tattoos? And so it's realizing that what we put on the skin gets into the blood. And we're in a place where we want to walk in the light of the truth of ourselves. We want to be in a place where we are vivid in our own self-expression and representation as these points of the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence, because there is no greater political consciousness than being in harmony with the will of existence, the light of supreme intelligence, and to be vivid in your own unique expression of the love of God, the light of God, the truth of God, the peace of God, the poise of God. And yes, it takes time to get to that place. It takes care. It takes consistency. It takes an effort. It's not something that comes easy. No, it's not going to be easy. Yes, it's easier to be killing yourself. Yes, it's easier to just eat any freaking thing. Yes, it's easier, but see, the issue is that is the evidence of the systemic oppression that the system facilitates to make it easy for you to be out of alignment with the truth of what we're here to do. Make it easy for you to be holding grudges and to be negative and to be in a place and space where you would rather be out of alignment with the truth of the divinity and the sanctity of yourself. Because when we're in it, when we're with it, then there's a joy and there's a peace. When we are wrapped in the ever-embracing arms of our Creator consciously, consistently with each and every breath and every beat of our heart, when we know whose we are and we're committed to being all of that which we are, not as black people and white people and this and that, but as these points of the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence that is beginningless, endless, infinite, and eternal, to be absolutely blessed with each and every breath, with every beat of our heart, to realize that there is nothing that these people can give us that is greater than who and what we already are, but to have it in a place and space where our oppression is systemic, where we are assaulted with all manners of garbage from the time that we were children, and each generation is assaulted with more chemicals than the previous one, then no, we have to stand up. We have to realize what the work actually is, what the movement actually is. And to be in a place and space where you want to hear all of the other things, but you can't take the truth. You can't talk about, you don't want to hear me. No, y'all turn me off, turn me off. You don't want to hear, you don't be held to any accountability for having heard the truth. But I'm the one that really cares that you walk in the truth of yourself. I'm not trying to make six figures by coaching you in veganism. I'm not in a place and space where I think, oh, well, I can really capitalize off of everybody's sickness. I'm going to go out and I'm just going to work the crowd. Everybody that's obese, I'm going to come up to them and say, would you like to lose some weight? I can get 30 pounds off of you in 30 days. Here, there's my card. No, I am Thursday nights consistently reminding you that you are this point of the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence. You represent lineages of people. There is greatness already in your lineage. We have been under a global initiative of depopulation and genocide, where we have been assaulted with all manners of artificial colors and flavors and nitrates and nitrites and BHA and BHT and preservatives and antibiotics and all kinds of chemicals from the time that we were children. We're watching and seeing so many ones pass away from the cancer, the heart disease, the diabetes, the chemo, the radiation, the dialysis. They're just shriveling up the kidneys and drying up the life force. This is not life. And we're having to take responsibility for understanding that you cannot participate in undermining yourself and your children and then think that your money makes you. And so many have been called and many have been chosen, and all I'm asking you to do is to choose life, to choose it on a daily basis, to realize that no matter what you've done, no matter how much drinking, no matter how much sexing, no matter how much whatever, you are still worthy and deserving to walk in the fullness of who you are, to become the living testament, and to give a living testimonial of the victory and the triumph of the love, light, wisdom, truth, peace, poise, power, potency, integrity, high ethic, morality, sensibility, care, courage, faith, and knowing of who and whose you are. I'll be forward in just a bit.
On Wednesdays from 8 to 10 p.m.
Happy Grass will have live bands and the best in bluegrass music.
Southern Flavor will be featuring a mix of bluegrass, newgrass, old time, and progressive string band music, all right here on your favorite community radio station.
WRFG 89.3 FM.
The Little Five Points Community Center will hold its open house and annual holiday art sale on December 6th. This event brings together local partners and artists for a celebration open to all.
The day includes art, handcrafted items, seasonal creations by local artists, and carolers throughout the day. This family-friendly event begins at 11 a.m. and ends at 6 p.m. The Little Five Points Community Center is located at 1083 Austin Avenue East. For more information about the Little Five Points Community Center open house and annual holiday art sale, the website is l5pcc.org.
This has been a public service announcement brought to you by your listener-sponsored and supported community radio station, WRFG 89.3 FM and WRFG.org.
And so where we have the incidents where children are killing their parents, not realizing that the parents were killing their children the entire time. I know of families, children that watch their parents kill each other or one or the other. And this abuse, this violation of other ones is easy when the blood is defiled. And the meat, the dairy, the eggs, the chicken, the fish were in our communities before the heroin, the cocaine, the crack, and all of that. You understand, the artificial colors and nitrates, nitrites, all of these poisons were in our communities, in our families. And it's just getting worse. You know, so when I look at some of the ingredients and the things that are being marketed to children that are at hand, at their level, at checkout, wherever you're checking out, and to see the amount of chemicals that are in these things. And the reality is that children are not the ones who are manufacturing all of this for themselves. It's adulterated ones. Those who are men or women, those who want to be respected as men or women, are working and producing all of this stuff. And so at this particular point in juncture, we have to realize that if we want to see something greater and better in our lifetime, then we have to create it. But we have to have the visioning for it. We have to see what does the kingdom of God looks like upon the planet. It looks like we're not poisoning our children. It looks like women and men are able to honor the gift that they've been given with their own bodies, hearts, minds, and spirits. It means that whatever loving we're doing, we are actually loving and caring for one another and not beating each other up and fussing each other and cursing each other out and all of that. It means that we're able to really respect each other as loved ones. You understand? Because we all grew up seeing the divisiveness. Many of us grew up, we didn't grow up with our families and with our parents loving each other to life. You know, they could not love each other to life because they were smoking and drinking and getting high and doing stuff to undermine themselves. So it became almost impossible for them to love each other to life. So it was easier to separate, divorce, what they say, co-parent. You understand? But the issue for us is in not realizing how to bring God into it. You know, and in light of how much anger, how much violation, how much betrayal, how much all of these things that many of us have experienced, our responsibility is still to love, to forgive, to release, to let go, to bring God all into our frequency and whatnot, because we're in a frequency where the whole system has betrayed us. You understand? The church has betrayed you. The educational system has betrayed you. You understand? Your parents betrayed you. Why? Because they fed you garbage. Did they know that they were feeding you garbage? Did they care that they were feeding you garbage? You understand? So I'm just saying is that, no, we all got some issues to release and let go of. But to know the will of God in terms of that which is exalting life and the respect for all orders of being, to see that the intelligence of existence, or that which we refer to as God, sees through every eye, that the foundation of not killing, or killing being the primary violation of existence, and then feeding off of that which has been killed, and not making the connection between the decay and decomposition of rotting carcass in the body, as much preservative as they put in it. It may take it some time to rot, but then you have the proliferation of bacterial organisms and whatnot. And just because you stop eating the meat does not mean that you get those organisms out of your body. It doesn't mean that those organisms do not continue to proliferate in your system, particularly where you went from being a carnivore or the standard American diet to being a carbohydratarian. Let's not even say vegetarian, a carbohydratarian, where you're eating more buckwheat pancakes as opposed to Mrs. Butterworth and Aunt Jemima pancakes and all of that, you know, high fructose corn syrup and all of that. Instead, you're having pure maple syrup and spelt flour pancakes, or buckwheat pancakes, or whole wheat pancakes, or just eggs instead of the aborted fetus. It's still not cleansing. It's still not nourishing. It's still not oxygenating, hydrating, mineralizing, alkalizing, or facilitating consistent cellular repair and regeneration. Now, the body is so intelligent that it is isolating so much of these chemicals. It's clogging you up. And we can't even really begin to estimate how much mental disturbance. So when people say, I've got some mental issues, I said, no, you are really dealing with the reality that you are nutritionally deficient. When you are highly stressed, it's nutritional deficiency. And people, how do you know that? Because you've been feeding off of all of this stuff. So there are those of you who are really sensitive, psychics, intuitives, empaths, and all of that. So you're having rotting carcass in your body is going to mess your mind up. You understand? But we came into the world with gifts. And it's very difficult for the children to really grow in the truth of who they are when they are oppressed in the womb. And then they're not breastfed. The mother was toxic. The father was toxic. And we all come through some degree of toxicity, but it's worse than it's ever been. Because now you have sisters who are not able to conceive. Or you have sisters that are having miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage because the body is so full of toxicity. And then you have the ones who can't bring the babies to term. The cervix can't hold it. They gotta, be on bed rest and whatnot because the body is under so much mucus, and the mucus is blocking and obstructing the nerve force in the system. And so without adequate nerve force and whatever, you can't literally be, in a place in space where you're feeling really good because it's sludge. You're full of sludge. And so our diet cannot be sludge and we be all right. And then they're taking the children, the babies off the breast at 3 months, or they take the baby and put it over here and say, oh, well, we're going to give the baby the formula. So no, the baby does not have the enzymes to digest anything other than mother's milk. Even toxic mother's milk is going to be better than them giving something out the bottle with all manners of soy and this and that. The equivalent of giving a baby Enfamil and all of these things full of soybeans is like giving them 5 birth control pills in a day's formula. And what does that do to your baby boys? So we have to begin to really have a greater thought and understanding, appreciation, respect for the perfect and divine design of us and the perfect and divine functioning of us, and coming to a point and place where we are raising completely up, because by virtue of our being women and men, we have duty, obligation, and responsibility to know how to perpetuate life, to exalt life. And the system of oppression has no right to determine for us that we do not have that right. It is our right to be rightly aligned with the intelligence of existence. Every order of being knows how to perpetuate itself. It exalts a full effort in its living. It knows its food. It excretes its waste. It knows its kind. And it will respond correctly and directly when it senses that its life is being threatened. Except for the fish that's in the containers, except for the turkeys and the chickens and the cows and the pigs and those things that you are eating, who are not able to defend themselves. They have become docile, and you all have become as docile as they are, not responding correctly and directly to being warred against. Completely antithetical to what it is to be human. I'll be forward in just a bit.
RFG, Atlanta.
Funding for the program is made possible by listeners like you and the following sponsors. Tambo Party presents Sacred Underground, its fall and winter music series starting on Saturday, November the 29th from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. at the Wish Lounge inside Believe Music Hall in Atlanta.
You all right?
The evening features deep, soulful, and Afro-inspired dance music.
I'm at 445238989, and we can't be careless with ourselves. We just can't. That's what is going on. Is the carelessness. And when we were little, for those of you who grew up with siblings, particularly if you were the youngest one, sometimes the youngest one gets away with a lot of things, and the older ones are having to take the place of mom and dad because mom and dad are out working, whatever. But you'd be like, oh, I'm going to tell mama, I don't care. I don't care. It's like that's what the sugar does to you. Put you in a position where it undermines your will. You don't even care. That's going to rat your teeth. I don't care. You understand that? I don't care frequency. And then when I was substitute teaching in my youth, in my 20s here, and I only had like 2nd to 4th graders. fifth graders, and they drawing stick people. I'm like, what's that? A leg? I said, what's that? A leg? So what's that? A leg? I said, third leg? Yeah. I said, that's what your mom and them teaching you? Well, no, they get offended, but I had to go off on these children because it's like they're completely distracted, and they're only like 7, 8 years old, completely distracted. You understand? And it's worse now than it was 40 years ago. When I I couldn't even take it. I went in so hard on these children that I cried, they cried. I didn't have any more issue with them after I told them the truth, because I was like, y'all growing up and you don't really realize that there is that which you should be aware of with yourself. You need to know how to feed yourself, because your parents are not giving you what you need. You need to ask for fruit. You don't ask for things that's going to undermine you. Ask for the fruit. Ask for the watermelon. Ask for the fruit. Don't ask for candy. Ask for the fruit. And so I'm just, people say, oh, you need to deal with the children. I can't deal with the children. I have to deal with the parents. I have to deal with the grandparents. I have to deal with the adulterated ones. That's how come I'm on late at night like this. And I know that there's some children that are up late, and I'm like, why are you going up this late? Go to bed. Your mom and them should have you in the bed. There's a period of time where a child should not be up and about. But see, this is the issue we deal with in terms of no real structure, no real discipline. And to bring children up without structure, without discipline, without knowing how to feed, puts them in a place where you undermine the capacity that they will have growing up. Because they're not going to be at home forever. And some are. Some are, and then still don't know how to contribute. You understand? And this is an issue, is that at no point are you really in a place where you can live cooperatively and give nothing. It's just you, and that's family, that's community. It's like you are in a place where you're raising children, and the children are in a place where they just expect everything, take everything, but then you hold them to no accountability for doing anything. Chores or whatever. They can be as distracted as they want to be. Now you're giving them all of these devices and things so that they are literally being supported in irresponsibility, not being able to respond to what is needed. See, this is part of maturation, being able to do what needs to be done because you are in a cooperative relationship with household, with family. You understand? And then those ones who are not able to provide food, clothing, shelter for themselves. And then they're dependent upon other ones to do it. But then it's like we are not really understanding what real maturation actually is and doing what needs to be done. You understand? So when we were growing up, we had chores. We had chores, and we could not just do anything. We couldn't just go out and do this and do that without taking care of the responsibility of the household. You understand? After a while, you don't even have to be told what to do. You know what to do. You know what day it is. You know what time. You understand? So I'm just saying is that we're having to realize that being undermined by this food, being undermined by the poisons that are being loosened up in the system, puts you in a place where you are not able to do what is in your best interest. And the one thing is to cleanse and support your cells from being relieved and freed from all of these toxins. And it creates mental issues, mental dis-ease. The blockage and obstruction of right alignment, right thought, because you've got the nerve force, you've got those snap, crackling, the synapses in the brain, snap, crackling, popping, because you are in right alignment with life itself. And life is giving to us. You understand? The birds know how to take care of themselves. They build their nest, they rebuild the nest. You understand? Everything takes care of its own. But we leave our children over here and we leave our children over there, and then these people come and take your children and stick them over there, and then they act like nobody needs to know You understand? I'm just saying is that we're dealing with a sick system. And the sickness of the system is creating sick people. And sick women are not able to really raise healthy children. So women have to come to a point in place where we cleanse and nourish and heal ourselves so that we are doing what is ours to do in terms of what it is to be purposed in being. See, our education, our religious indoctrination did not really give us any understanding about what purpose in being is. And so we think, oh, it's just about, going to school, getting your education, getting a job, going to the military, being able to pay bills and this and that. And you do that for 6, 7, 8, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years and have a few babies and leave them over here and leave them over there. And you understand, and then be longing for something meaningful. And the meaningfulness is the joy and the peace in what it is to love, and what it is to care, and what it is to be loved, and what it is to be cared for, and what it is to bless, and what it is to honor, and what it is to cherish and treasure. See, the intangibles are the things that really enrich us. You understand? But to have people who basically, the only good that you offer them is what you can give to them, what they can get from you, and then still not have any regard, have no respect. You have no appreciation, no gratitude, no thanksgiving. And so we can't raise children to never grow up. So now you have those who are grown children, but still children. How do we know they're still children? Because they do not have the desire to truly mature. What does maturity mean? Being able to do what needs to be done as it needs to be done without any pouting about it, any frustration. I mean, just do what needs to be done. You take care of business. You understand? It's just taking care of business for yourself and for your environment. You have people who won't do that. They keep filth. You understand? They perpetuate filth because the filth is inside. This is where we're having to understand that people can live in really nice houses, right? And they love their things. They take much better care of their cars than they do their bodies. They're getting their cars done, but they go right from the car wash right to the drive-in at Wendy's or Burger King or whatever, put all of this garbage in their body temples. And we think that that's what you have the right to do, is to defile your body. And then you defile it. And you are doing the same thing you've seen your mama, grandmama, all of them do, and then they all end up with cancer, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and you do the same thing and not questioning it, not trying to do anything differently. And so this is what I'm saying is that, no, you can do differently. But you have to know that the way that we have been raised has been antithetical to what it is to be human. To be in a place and space where you don't care, to do what's in your best interest, means that you cannot mature. But the maturity is the activation and the unfoldment of the divinity of who and what you are as this point of the presence of God. So that means that maturity puts you in a place where you are a perfect channel for God. Light, love, wisdom, truth, peace, creativity, the creator's activity. But you have people who live their lives and they never become that. But that was the truth of them from the beginning. And oppression puts us in a position where we can't do it. And so, liberation at the cellular level, putting us in a place where it becomes easier to release, let go, forgive, be in a place where we come into balance, where we respect the greatest gift that we have, which is ourselves, the relationships that we have with each other, the opportunity we have to love each other to life, to lift each other, to support each other. And so it matters that it matters to us as to how we walk the face of this earth. It should matter to us how we give, how we serve, how we love, how we forgive, how we honor, how we cherish, how we treasure, how we appreciate love, and how we give forward and give back, particularly to those who gifted so much to us, in the way in which we honor our lineages. We honor our lineages by virtue of the quality of persons we become. We honor our lineages in bringing the best of ourselves out. We honor our lineages by respecting the gift that we've been given and the responsibility we have to represent them. In the establishment of this eternal order, the eternal government, and as the emergence of the queendoms and kingdoms of God upon this planet. And I know that's not what you're getting in school or in church. I'll be forward in just a bit.
For over 40 years, the Arts Exchange has been a vital resource for Atlanta's arts community, working with local artists and community members to create and share cultural traditions. Committed to supporting diverse artistic voices, the Arts Exchange provides multicultural, multidisciplinary, and intergenerational opportunities for learning and creative expression through workshops, exhibits, and community-driven events. To learn more about the programs and initiatives at the Arts Exchange, the website is artsexchange.org. That's ARTSXCHANGE.org. This has been another public service announcement brought to you by your listener-sponsored and supported community radio station, 89.3 FM and WRFG.org, your station for progressive information and hand-picked quality music.
The following is a public affairs bulletin board announcement from your station for progressive information, WRFG 89.3 FM.
Freedom University is an Atlanta-based freedom school for undocumented students like me. My name is Kathy, and I'm one to choose classes in the fields of human rights, college preparation, arts, STEM, and well-being. Beyond the classroom, Freedom U also provides students like me with mental health support and comprehensive legal representation, all at no cost to students. Freedom U is able to provide us with courses and holistic support thanks to the generosity of everyday people in Atlanta who recognize our human rights and dignity. Freedom U also conducts Know Your Rights trainings with our students, as well as folks in the larger community, to help everyone become more knowledgeable of how to support and protect undocumented neighbors. If you would like to learn more about Freedom University's work empowering undocumented students like me and making our community safer, the website is www.freedom-university.org, and the Instagram is fu_Georgia. Thank you so much for your love and solidarity.
I'm at 445238989. This is Night Watch programming. Night Watch was intended to speak to the issues of Africans throughout the diaspora, and it's shifted over the years. Urinary tract, So if you get consistent urinary tract infections, or you're having consistent womb infections, or consistent discharges and whatnot, you know, and itching and all of this, it's because of the amount of organisms in the system. And so this is one of the reasons why we have to really respect the fact that you're perfectly and divinely designed. So organisms and bacteria and all of that is a natural part of our lives. But you have that which is healthy, facilitative of your greater good, and then you have that which is not. And so when people talk about, oh, well, you know, they said if you do enemas, you know, you're going to destroy the integrity of your microbiome and this and that. And I'm saying, you've been eating the flesh of dead animals for like decades. You ain't got no healthy bacteria up in there. Just, you can destroy it. You got to get all of that unhealthy stuff because you got organisms and stuff. They're not even just in the gut anymore. They're like traveling throughout your body, and you feel, and all this itching and all of them rashes and all of that and the warts and the moles and all of that is the evidence of the parasitic infection in your system. So, wow, Adama, you ain't have to put it like that. Y'all missed him. Y'all better wake up. And then you be trading and sharing all kinds of organisms with all these people y'all be having sex with and kissing. You don't know nothing about these people. Lord have mercy. And so if you're going to be engaged, and stay engaged with the one that you with. That way, you know, you could at least have one colony, you know, a second colony that you already familiar with, as opposed to bringing this one in and bringing this one in and bringing this one in and then for all of the ones that you already, I'm just saying, golly, it's serious out here, y'all. And so you want to come forward and do what's in your best interest. And it is in our best interest to realize that we don't want to be just hosts for parasites. You don't want that to be, you know, what's driving you. Your parasites are driving you. Your parasites are setting the standard for what you're consuming. And you have no power and authority over your appetites or your body because you are under such parasitic infestation. That your parasites are ruling your life. Really? Is that what y'all really want? Y'all don't want that. I know y'all don't want that. I know you want to be cleared, cleansed, purified, renewed, rebirthed, regenerated, rejuvenated, revitalized, revivified. Huh? Isn't that a better thing? I mean, when you can literally conceptualize and consider and really hold the vision of your complete transformation from inside out. And everything happens from the inside out. So in order to come into the eternal, you have to do the internal. Even though you're already in the eternal. But then you got all this going on internally that's marginalizing your experience of living in the rainbow and dwelling in the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence, and to be supremely intelligent so that other ones don't respect you, don't appreciate you, or whatever. Or sometimes what happens is that when you consciously care to exalt a full effort in your clearing, cleansing, purification, consecration, the ones that you've been around doing all these other things with, they get upset with you. You understand? So sometimes you got to let people go because they don't want to raise up. They don't want to be cleared and cleansed. And sometimes these are the people that you're married to. And so you have to be in a place where we become patient. We have to be in a place where we are going in more in terms of holding space for ourselves to consecrate and make sacred our own lives. We have to be in a place where we set boundaries so that you don't allow other ones to really pull you off center. You know, have you in a place where you cannot be in a perfect peace, and it's the peace and the ease. You understand? So when you are in a place and space where you have been deficient in all of the things that really promote your well-being and your health, and you're deficient. And then you've been filled with a lot of things that create irritability. You understand? Create dis-ease. The longer you dwell in a state of dis-ease, then you literally begin to create disease. The longer you allow yourself to be in a state of dis-ease, whether it's anger, frustration, resentment, responding to every parasitic frequency of consuming all of that that undermines you, does not nourish you, then you are literally creating disease. And in order to reverse the disease, you have to come to ease, you have to come to peace. And peace is really accomplished love. And the love is hydrating, oxygenating, mineralizing, alkalizing, and facilitating consistent cellular liberation, regeneration, rejuvenation, revitalization, so that you are experiencing the hand of God moving all through you, healing you, facilitating your greater good, and coming to a point and place where you are consistently doing that as you consistently grow and unfold, that this is maturation. So it's not something that you get in and out of. It's not something that you stop and start and stop and start. Well, I used to be vegetarian when I was about 20. And how old are you now? Well, I'm 60. So you did 20. Well, how long were you vegetarian? Well, I did it for about 4 years. I said, so the 4 years that you were vegetarian, what were you eating? Oh, well, I was eating like, I was doing like cereal, with oat milk, almond milk. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and in the last 40 years, what you've been doing. So I'm just saying, this life is not something that you just get in and out of and off and on and stop. You were perfectly and divinely designed, and you require oxygenation, hydration, mineralization, alkalization consistently over time to grow, to heal, to walk in the divinity of the truth of yourself. It's not something that you start and stop. You go and you continue. You care to mature, to be the embodiment and the personification of exalted thought, exalted walk, and divinity of your being. This is not what the system is supporting us. And that's how you notice the system is out of order. Because the system doesn't work itself. The system is perpetuated by people. People who are either men or women or some combination of them, right? The system is perpetuated by people. But nobody is here to do anything other than exalt life. And why is that like rocket science? That's the evidence of being under those who really are out of alignment with life itself, to think that they can create systems of oppression and then prosper. You're in tune to the meeting of the inner circle, and this is Adama. And so the more mature we become, the easier it becomes for us to really bypass the system and come to a point where we're literally dwelling in the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence that is life itself, the source of all being directly, no matter where we are. And for those who are listening to this program in Russia, in Germany, in wherever you are. We are all very much still present in the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence that is beginningless, endless, infinite, and eternal. We dwell in its presence like whales are in oceans. We are in an ocean of nothing but consciousness. And we are having the opportunity to experience what level of consciousness we decide and we care to function as within the realm of it. So within the realm of the consciousness, you have the bottom feeders. You have those who just digest and eat all kinds of feces. Right? You have your bottom feeders. And then you got these different levels of consciousness. And I'm just saying is that we, as these points of the presence of the absolute, should not be dwelling as bottom feeders. You understand? That's your shrimp, your crab, your crayfish, all of those ones who are there to literally clean up the oceans and all of that, but they're pulling them out by tons, and then you're eating them. And then they're dumping tons of waste in the oceans, and then taking out the ones who's supposed to be cleaning it up. To just have no respect for the divinity and the perfection of the cycles of life. How do you have a people who just ruin every freaking thing? Because the violation is in the blood. It's in the bloodline at this point. It's in feeling entitled to kill, feeling entitled to oppress, feeling entitled to marginalize, anesthetize, inebriate, intoxicate, violate. And we should be feeling much more entitled to clear, cleanse, purify, renew, rebirth, regenerate, so that we are living our lives and not dying our lives. We're at 404-523-8989. If you have any comments, concerns, questions, if you really appreciate my programming. And as hard as it may be to hear what I'm saying, because it is literally charging you with the responsibility of shifting. You understand? See, we all got it. We all got it. I was not brought up, I was not raised vegetarian, even though I did not want to eat meat from the time I was 7. You understand? I was not raised this way. But I was in and out of hospitals as a child. And nobody made the connection. And a lot of what I was dealing with was the emotions from seeing parents that love each other someday, but then they going on with each other another day. I know the love was there, but the issue is that we do not understand the impact and the effect of emotional trauma. And even though many of us have gone through it, we've lived through it, it did not necessarily prepare us for being able to bring healthier children forward, because we've not done the inner work of decrystallizing the trauma, the unforgiveness, the resentments, the frustration. All these things have crystallized emotions now in the cells. And then you go to therapists, and therapy just has you regurgitating all of the issues so that you are consistently re-infusing your cells with all of the stuff that you don't want, as opposed to really doing a cellular liberation. And that's why I am so grateful to even address it, and so the shadow work of really, looking at our shadow. I was doing my shadow dancing the other night out here under the moonlight, and then, and the shadow dancing is like, yeah, we have our shadow, but the shadow is not greater than the light. The light shows the shadow, but the shadow is there. All right, so we got the light, we got the shadow, but the shadow moves with us. So the issue is acknowledging the light and processing the shadow stuff. That's what y'all call the shadow work. But you can't dwell in the shadow. You can't spend more time with the shadow than you do with your light. The more you dwell in the light of the truth of that which you are, supreme intelligence, the more power you have over your shadows. So you can't focus on the shadow and keep regurgitating the shadow, whatever that is. You have to dwell in the light. You have to care to acknowledge the truth and the substance of that which you truly are, as divinity personified. and forgive ourselves. And we forgive ourselves for our mistakes. But everything can work towards our greater good because it's not about the mistake. It is about who we become as a result of the acknowledgement that we've erred and our coming to a point where we forgive ourselves and we forgive other ones who've erred with us. You understand? You usually don't err by yourself. You understand? And are coming to a point and place where we love each other to life anyway. That's the issue. And so I'm just wanting us to really be freed from it all. Come to a point and place where we're rejoicing. We're like getting lighter. We're getting brighter. We're coming to a point and place where we have nothing to complain about. Nothing to be in a place where you are saddened and this and that. You know, people are making their choices, and I'll put it this way. I see so many people pass away because of the life that they've lived, the choices that they've made. And so I know that when you don't do anything differently, you're going to have a tragic date with fate. And I'm saying that you can choose destiny, but destiny requires your right response in respecting, honoring, cherishing, treasuring, reflecting, meditating, introspecting, loving, honoring, appreciating, loving, and being in the frequency of the energy of who and whose you are as this point of the presence of God. And godliness is sexy in this day and time. You don't want to be sexy. Then be godly. Be righteous. Don't just be trying to trap people up in that body. Be in a place and space where you really want to love and honor and be the embodiment. Because see, that's destiny. That's what really matters for where we are right now. And so I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about if you have any questions or concerns or issues that you would like to address before I close out this program. I've got about 20 minutes. And I'm going to do a musical interlude. I'll be forward in just a bit. Won't let the weight of this world bury me. We all want our place in the sun. Come whatever what may, it is done. Will you walk out on God? Will you be on heaven's shore? Will you lead the path to follow the beautiful world? in store? Will you leave a path to follow, or will you leave a path to walk? Only thing you need is your burden. Only love can heal the hurt. Let your peace fall on the earth. A beautiful world. Oh, it's a beautiful world. A beautiful world. Yeah, it's a beautiful world. Oh, it's a beautiful world. Yeah, it's a beautiful world. La 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 da 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 da. Alright, it's a beautiful world. La 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 da 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 da. It's a beautiful world. Will you walk out on water? Will you breathe on heaven's door? Or will you leave a path to walk? Only thing you need is your burden. Only love can heal the hurt. Let your peace fall on the earth. A beautiful world. Yeah. A beautiful world. Ooh. A beautiful world. I'm no longer fearful of the future.